Has it been this way since the age of my ancestors?
Of course.
5 years ago, you controlled the destiny of thousands of souls in Sun and Shadow. But the choice you make today shall define the fate of every living thing in Aora. I suppose that's true. And I suppose it can be comforting to remember that. I know you'll choose wisely. And no matter what happens, it's been an honor journeying with you. Again.
We gonna do this or what? We've made it this far, yet we're still alive. Might as well square off with my god before our luck runs dry. Sway a god's will? You trying to make me laugh? Well, if anyone could do it, I reckon it'd be you. Tell me, Watcher, can there be a god of light and birth if souls themselves can no longer be reborn? Reckon it was. Sure, I did some things I now regret. God knows I got plenty of blood on my hands. I thought it'd be different how it turned out, but I couldn't dream of any other way. Now then, shall we go face my God for one last time? Find out what it is we can or can't do in these end times. Whether we're meant to wither or thrive. Consider me your second shadow.
So, here we stand on Lost Ukaizo. My parents gave me an earful about horizon-spanning beaches and towers reaching beyond the stars.
All I can see is good folk tussling over a wasteland.
Time to confront Aethys, hopefully for the last time. You know what you're doing? No time to waste then. I'm about as ready to confront a god as I'll ever be. We're doing good work here. Setting foot on Ukaizo is a statement that no one can ignore. You should be proud. Captain, I don't know what's gonna happen to us, but I want you to know I'm not scared, and I'm glad you're here with me. Gods, I hope not. Go give the green boy a piece of your mind.
I am thinking that Aethys has come this far, and he will not wait on you before he finishes what he started. If he shatters what is sat in the heart of Ukaizo, this action will ripple beyond the Deadfire, beyond life as we know it. The Huana could use a change, an upset, something that gets them working together. History has shown that we thrive in adversity. The land of my mothers, as real as anything that rises up from the bed of the sea. Also, smaller than I expected. This should be as interesting as the last time I confronted a god-possessed Adra Colossus. Captain, I am my mother's son. I have seen things you would not believe. What say? Shall we find him, Captain? stood here before. As a boy, I dreamed of a tower made of water. I stood at the pinnacle and made obeisance to Mother Ngati. This tower, this view. Ngati's covenant, the first form of water shaping. It is here, waiting for me. I can feel it all around this place. The ones who built these machines used our connection to Ngati against us. These storms are a perversion of my art, an expression of beauty as a weapon. So beautiful. But look what they have done with you. I remember. I am the tremor that inspires the tidal wave. The pebble that calls the avalanche! Mother! Your son has found his birthright where you left it! My people never doubted that Ngati's Chosen would find our ancient gift. Kara, I did not share their confidence until now. I am ready, Watcher. Let us finish what we started.
The machine controlling the storm winds down. The clattering of its machinery settles into a low whir and then, at last, hiccups to a halt. Beyond the tower, the black, roiling clouds of Andra's mortar roll away from the ancient city of Ukaizo, with only a tired sigh of wind to see them off. And on that last breath of wind, comes to you a familiar sound. The ring of a bell. The bell's ringing is soft, not the clangor and torrent you've grown used to. It calls to your soul, and your soul yearns to follow it. Your soul flees from your body and into the beyond, chasing that sound. It leads you at last to Bareth's realm, to that cold platform and room of endless doors.
Watcher, your journey nears its conclusion.
The pallid night stands before you, her gaunt face impassive.
That will depend on the will of Kith, whose desires are ever in flux. Soon you will confront Aethys for what will likely be the final time, and you will do so as the Herald of Bareth, the only creature on the face of Aora to whom he will listen. Remember that.
The pallid night inclines her head to you, black hair hanging lank in her face. She steps back and cedes the floor to Helia with a small, resigned sigh.
If Aethys truly intends to go through with his mad plan to destroy the Wheel, a generation's worth of souls will be trapped in the in-between. So many would suffer. How can Aethys be so cruel? He cannot just abandon them. Aethys must help the Kith find a quick solution.
Abaddon strides forward.
Aethys thrust this crisis on the Kith. They did not bring it upon themselves. Their only mistake was in trusting us to watch over them. Who will help them rebuild their world now?
Aethys will reveal every secret of the gods. Will Kith be able to change the established order if they have no wonder to inspire them? Aethys must help them resolve this quickly, lest every one of Aora's few remaining mysteries be laid plain.
You have misgivings. Good. You should be wary of any help Aethys might offer you. With the wheel destroyed, Kith will tear themselves apart. It is the gods' duty to prevent that happening, lest they doom us all. And as Kith must be ruled, so too must the gods. I say that if Aethys is so eager to throw down the mantle of power and step aside, I shall take my rightful place as Queen of the Gods again.
Kith are strongest when they follow our lead, and we are strongest when we lead in turn. United in purpose with the gods, Kith can accomplish things that without us, they could never have even begun. They must be shown their boundaries to surpass them.
Kith will not solve Aethys' puzzle on their own. And without an established order to fight against, the bonds that bind them dissolve, and they fight amongst themselves.
You cannot trust us, and you never should have. Only the Kith may save themselves.
Boudica's firm hand is but the motherly smothering of Helia by another name. Mortals should have no special advantages. Only once Kith have striven to improve themselves through trial will they truly know their measure. Kith must suffer to find their strength if they are to survive the world into which Aethys drags them. Our intervention in your struggle would be a cruelty and counter to our purpose.
He lets his words hang in the air for a moment. Gaze, level with your own.
Indeed. Kith must discover for themselves what it is they are worth, and of what it is they are capable. What we do for them, they do not learn for themselves. Trial breeds ingenuity. If our work of generations was not in vain, Kith will succeed in spite of Aethys' actions. I have faith in Kith's ability to meet Aethys' challenge. Do not mistake my words for indifference, Watcher. They are born from a fierce belief in your potential, not a refutation of it.
And yet you come to Okaizo alone, with none at your back. All that Kith stand to lose. And even then your leaders could not join hands, squabbling instead over prestige and resources. You believe that will change when my final death comes calling? You are a greater fool than I thought. Margaret is blinded by her affection for mortals. She does not see that entropy is the destiny of all things. If Aethys were wise, he would destroy everything. End life, end reincarnation, end death. Kith have had their chance. It is time to let silence reign.
As Rimmergon's words fade, the Pallid Night returns. She no longer towers over you, a giant even among the gods, but meets you at your height. She lets the arms crossed over her chest fall to her sides. She speaks to you openly, plainly, an expression almost like tenderness, turning up the corners of her lips.
Well, Watcher, you know where we stand. What do you believe? You have some time to think yet, but not perhaps as much as you would like. Now the time has come for us to part, Watcher. I laid upon you a difficult duty, and you have discharged it well. You will be free of it in time, but not now. you have work to do yet. You are no stranger to hard choices. You killed Theos, and when his soul was laid bare before you, you chose to destroy his memories. You freed him from his past. Remember the strength it took to make that choice, and know that you alone may sway Aethys now. When you stand before him, choose your words carefully.
She claps her gauntleted hands together, and a sound like thunder rumbles through the room. As the floor crumbles and falls away beneath you, you hear the sound of a single bell ringing, and beneath it, the faintest whisper.
It seems we're all still here.
Do not touch the machine again, I say. The delicate fish can only take so much.
If all your missions involve this many head wounds, then I volunteer to set the next one out.
God's darnation. My head.
What everyone else fails to grasp is that Rauatai isn't a storm-tossed spit of land. It's the Kith who stand together there. Ukaizo belongs to us. We've earned it with blood and sweat. And no one shall take it from us now. I can't stop him. Neither can you. But I can give my country a chance at weathering what comes next. Rauataians, defend Ukaizo! Death!
Take me down!
Worth it.
They'll naked us both!
Stand together!
Yes. That hit true.
Worse than rough!
Yes? Of course. I'd be glad to. Hmm?
You descend into the ancient winding streets of Ukaizo. Battered by storms for thousands of years, the ruins bear the marks of their role as the lone witnesses of the god's great secret at the center of the city. The houses and boulevards are pierced by great spears of luminous Audra. There are no ashen bodies, no birds, no sign or sound of any life. But with every step, the rhythmic pounding in the distance draws nearer. Soon, you can feel the vibration traveling up your spine. As you approach the center of the city, the weathered architecture gives way to more luminous Audra, piercing the ruins, eventually overtaking them entirely. Cresting the top of a fallen tower, you finally get a clear view of Aethys. He stands, legs astride, next to a great stone monument ringed with 11 cavernous alcoves. All but 3 hold a gargantuan skeleton, bones scrubbed clean by the city's storms. An immense Anguithan machine floats above the monument, suspended by invisible energy emanating from a well of light beneath it. Great brass rings spin around a core of metal and Audra at the machine's center. Periodically, Aethys's massive arms swing back. The movement alone is enough to draw great gusts of wind toward him. When they come down on the machine, the impacts are accompanied by eruptions of electricity, fire, and smoke. The hundreds of luminous Audra pillars across Ukaizo sympathetically dim in a rippling wave that spreads out from the machine. The only safe route to the god is a steep ascent along a monstrous pillar of luminous Audra. Intertwined with fragments of Ukaizo's ruins that it has carried through the centuries, the pillar bends in a long arc, towering above the machine. The pillar levels out near Aethys's head, a silent observer to the destruction of the machine it has grown beside over thousands of years. You weave your way along a treacherous rain-slicked path up the pillar's skyward side. As you arrive at the top, you catch Aethys's attention. Fist pulled back, he pauses to observe you. With the same gentleness he showed at Ashen Maw, he lowers his arm and turns toward you.
Strange to see Ukaizo in this way. It may be hard to picture, but this city was once full of life. The Huana, yes, but also Kith from many other cultures. Great hanging trees shadowed these boulevards. Gardens sprawled across the open rooftops. Each spring, a festival procession would wind its way from the hillside into this valley. The celebrants would pass through a steep walk among the stalls of foreign merchants, flowers falling upon them from all sides. All people of all nations, together in a celebration of new life. Such was the power and beauty of lost Ukaizo. Been a while, old friend. Widewin, I did not think to see you here. But few things go as expected when the Watcher is involved. We were a good team. Once. But this isn't what we fought for. Ain't you just burning the harvest because you planted the wrong seeds? An astute observation, old friend. Consider instead that I am giving the soil back to those who till it. Spring must always follow winter. As long as there are people committed to finding the other side of change, the agony will not last. But thank you for challenging me as you did in fairer times. I haven't forgotten the lesson we strove to impart. You're welcome, I suppose.
Mighty One, I once desired to return that power and beauty to the Huana. Now I wish only for the tribes to find it themselves. If not here, then elsewhere. Was I wrong? Have I failed them?
Tekehu, the gods have already decided so much of your life. I would not shape what remains of it. You know how your people could benefit from your help. You have also come to see that this life is yours to live as you choose. Deciding what course to take is not easy. But if you do not choose, your life may pass you by as you stand at the crossroads.
Gon, please, I'm begging you. What do I do following this? How am I to best serve those still living, to improve our future chances of survival?
The Deadfire and the Eastern Reach are full of animancers. Women and men with brilliant minds who can solve this great problem. They will also need people with brilliant souls, like you, Shodi. People who can tend to the spiritual needs of the world in a time of fear and desperation. Remember, the flame you bear is not only light, but warmth. Provide comfort to all who need it.
What right do you have to do this? Destroy the wheel and leave us with nothing? Without even knowing what will come next?
Aloth, we are all gods and mortals, responsible for our own actions. But inaction carries its own moral responsibility. It is a burden I have carried for far too long. One must always do as their conscience dictates, even if that means abdicating a position of power.
Rawatai gave everything they had to reach this place. In the end, they fell short of hitting the mark. Will we ever have another chance to prosper? Or was this damn island our last hope?
Only you can answer that question, Maya. Rawatai has persevered through great adversity. The storms that ravaged your homeland have ended, but that in itself may present new challenges for your people. It is my hope that after I am gone, Rawatai will work together with its rivals to create a new world, instead of fighting over the ruins of the old. But what of you, Watcher? Why have you followed me? Have you come to bear witness to the breaking of the wheel? It is pity for mortals that drives me, Watcher. I have felt it in every step I have taken to cross the Deadfire and reach this place. What more would you have me do? It is true. While the eventual restoration of the wheel will bring them relief, they will suffer until that time comes. Thank you for making me think of the lost souls, Watcher. I will provide a haven for them after my work here is finished. I must attend to my final work now. I cannot delay any longer. You have carried a heavy burden across the Deadfire, Watcher. Before I go, I would rid you of it. You are free now, as free as any of us can be. Many will come to you for help in the years ahead. Animancers, priests, even the gods themselves. I have great hope for you, but always remember that your future is for you to decide. Use your freedom well.
Aethys squares himself to the machine. As you move to a safe distance, he draws his fist back and resumes his assault. The blows rain down with increased fervor, but the machine perseveres in spite of his efforts. Spreading his arms wide, Aethys draws power from the luminous Audra clustered around the valley. The energy courses through his body, limbs overflowing with intense light and waves of heat. He returns to his task, each strike bringing with it the sound of cracking stone and twisting metal, the flickering of luminous Audra across Ukaizo. As the ancient machine finally begins to succumb to his strength, so too does Aethys's body, built to withstand the passage of thousands of years. The great Audra statue has finally been pushed beyond its limits. Cracks appear along the hands, then race up the arms. Aethys does not slow his assault, but continues unabated. Its brass rings twisted, the machine spins erratically but withstands the relentless barrage. Aethys stands astride it and pummels the base of the machine. Soul energy begins to flare out from the machine's heart, warping the air with the intense heat. Aethys drives his right fist into the machine's center, the core of metal and Audra. The god lets out a deafening shout, something between a cry of anguish and a roar of exultation. You see Aethys's arm shatter upward from his hand through his elbow. A flash of light and heat bursts from the core, accompanied by a cacophony of destruction. The moment passes as Aethys's shout echoes throughout the valley. Your eyes begin to recover. The god's work is accomplished. The great machine of Ukaizo has been destroyed. The wheel has been unmade. As Aethys's voice fades, the enormity of what you've accomplished sinks in. You have confronted a god. You have rediscovered the ancient city where the wheel was forged, and you have seen the wheel shattered. What comes next is uncertain, but already the legend spreads of the Watcher who survived Andra's mortar and stood toe-to-toe with Aethys. Maras Nua's body finally goes still amidst the rubble of the Angwithan machines, yet it continues to glow. Priests and mystics have strange dreams of an island of eternal dawn at the eye of a storm, a port where the tide never flows out, a roadside tavern whose door leads only inward. As a watcher, you see what these dreamers cannot. The souls of the departed drifting toward the Audra Colossus and the twilit afterlife within. Whether it is a temporary haven or a permanent end will depend on what the Kith of Eora are able to accomplish on their own. And while Maras Nua stands frozen over Ukaizo, the gods look on the labors of Kith, but they do not intervene. They watch and argue, wager and conjecture at how or whether mortals will solve the puzzle set before them. In reaching Ukaizo and facing Aethys, you have accomplished the impossible. And you have done it without the assistance of the great powers of Deadfire. Your feats capture the awe and imagination of a world that needs heroes more than ever. Some say your intervention prevented Aethys from a far worse act of destruction. Many believe you will be the salvation of Eora. With each day, your legend grows, as does the chaos in Deadfire. Ukaizo remains unclaimed, and the Efekia Channel becomes the site of a near-constant battle as the Huana and the Rauataians vie for control of the unprotected island. The Rauataians rely on their cannons, and the Huana call forth massive waves and beasts of the deep to sink their foes. And while they chip away at one another, the Valians and the Principi pursue their own ends with increasing abandon. Emboldened by their rivals' distraction, the Valian Trading Company seizes territory and mines luminous Adra at a startling pace. Huana villages are left at the mercy of unscrupulous speculators, and resource-rich islands are swarmed and stripped. To support their operations, the Valian Trading Company begins shipping ever greater quantities of supplies and luminous Adra to and from the archipelago. This attracts the attention of the Principi, who target these ships with increasing aggression. The promise of fat prizes draws even more pirates to their ranks. The Rauataians, as well as the Huana, are too busy to stop them. The mysterious deaths of Governor Clario and Storm Speaker Ikawa provoke hostilities between the Valian settlers and the Huawan residents. What starts with angry words escalates to retaliatory killings as each side blames the other. By the time anyone bothers to question the strange coincidences surrounding their deaths, including reports of a cloaked Omawi woman seen in both the port and the village, both sides have gone too far to turn back. As the balance of power changes in Deadfire, so too does Nekataka transform. With the major powers at one another's throats, Nekataka becomes a maelstrom of chaos. Spies and smugglers follow the flow of refugees into the city, where violence is commonplace. Ukaizo remains the coveted prize, and Nekataka fades into an afterthought. The Kahanga leadership takes responsibility for the welfare of the Raparu, and the Gullet starts to improve. What was once a den of crime, poverty, and illness slowly becomes a quiet haven for the Raparu. With Skiarilifus's essence still empowering the Water Shapers Guild, the practice of water shaping grows and flourishes in Nekataka, and its practitioners rise in prestige. They install conveyors in the falls that run through the city and craft sculptures for every street and plaza. Thus, the Water Shapers Guild becomes a power in its own right in the city of Nekataka. Your brief encounter with Letharn proves deeply influential for the children of the Dawnstars. Plagued with nightmares and haunted by the deaths at Hesango, Letharn begins questioning his faith in Aethys. At first, his fellow Dawnstars chide him, but that changes as word of Aethys' deeds at Ukaizo spreads. After all, what business have they worshipping a god who denied his own legitimacy? The children of the Dawnstars respond to Aethys' sacrifice by taking up the lanterns and sickles of the Harvesters of Gone. They become pilgrims of essence, gathering souls across Eora and ferrying them to the haven within the Adra Colossus. Others will repair or rebuild the wheel one day. In the meantime, the Dawnstars will care for the souls of the dead. Ruanu, the chieftain of the Huana at Tikawara, dies mysteriously. The tribe finds his body washed up on the same beach where Anaharu challenged him to the trial of waves. Some blame Anaharu's vengeful spirit. Others see it as Ngati's final judgment. And a few speak of a strange man seen lingering in the village. The leaderless tribe eventually scatters. Some head to Negataka, while others seek out the Wahaki. The dragon, Neraskirlas, no longer passes between Aora and the White Void, and the dead flow slowly breaks apart, exposing the temple long frozen within. Under Halfjorn's guidance, the Harbingers of Dusk resettle within Remergon's temple, vowing to forever protect it from the defiling touch of outsiders. Over time, the group becomes increasingly reclusive and fanatical, attacking any who dare approach their holy site. In besting the Beast of Winter, you earned the Death God's mercy rather than his enmity. The deity remains characteristically unforthcoming about his decision, and you're left to wonder whether in doing battle with him in the White Void, you somehow furthered his apocalyptic ambitions. Once repaired, the Adra at the primal island of Kazuwari again pulses with the flow of soul essence between the here and the beyond. The feral life on the island flourishes, the jungles and veld growing ever wilder and resistant to settlement and exploration alike. The faces of the hunt continue to rule the Crucible and Gallowayne's, or rather, Tawamawai's name. The trials summoned by the statue grow deadlier with each season, until only those rare few willing to brave the gravest of dangers seek out the bloody ordeals of Kazuwari. Like the other souls following in your wake, Muatu eventually yearns to move on to the beyond and the wheel. Stymied by Aethys' actions, however, he settles on returning to Kazuwari, where he joins the choir of souls that echo throughout the Crucible. Hundreds of Kith, and no small number of Wilder and Primordials, flee from the Black Isle, their minds a confused collection of inconsistent and contradictory memories. Each escapee bears knowledge that was once lost, and agents of the Hand Occult across Aora work tirelessly in the years that follow to hunt down and end these fugitives. They find far fewer than they hope. Released from their bondage to the sightless eye, the Vithrak of the Halls Obscured abandon the Black Isle and resettle in the deepest and darkest recesses of the ruins beneath Negataka. Sisak and his colony remain secretive and isolated, however, rarely interacting with those Kith crawling about in the sunlight above. Encouraged by her arcane successes, Bakarna returns to her observatory to continue her studies of the celestial spheres. In time, her colleagues in the Circle of Archmagi come to accept her among their number. She takes on apprentices, and they trumpet her praises as both a brilliant innovator and nurturing pedagogue. Slain by your hand, the Titan of Wal poses little further threat to Aora. As the corpse decays, it putrefies into a massive nest of hungry fungal monstrosities. Vessels that anchor off the shores of the Black Isles tend to go missing, only to turn up shipwrecked months or even years later against distant shores. With time, the body collapses upon itself, and the Black Isles finally implode. Though your adventures alter the destiny of Aora and the balance of power in Deadfire, they also leave a lasting mark on those who travel at your side. Your companions find themselves changed, in ways both big and small. Adair returns to Hisongo, where he reunites with Byrne, the son of his former lover, Alava. the boy takes heart in Adair's account that Aethys and all the other gods were false, petty, and unworthy of the love of Kith. Realizing how close he came to dying for this cause, Byrne finds renewed purpose in working alongside his uncle to repair the many scars left upon Deadfire by the gods. Under Adair's guidance, Byrne grows into the kind of irreverent, stubborn hothead that would have made his mother proud, and Adair visits her gravesite, often to tell her so. Shodi is not a priestess who understands the meaning of subtlety. As such, she makes her girlish crush on Adair painfully obvious from the moment she first sets eyes on the strapping fighter. Early in your travels, Adair appears discomforted by her persistent flirting. He often grimaces when she sidles up to him, and he takes endless pains to keep their conversations terse and to the point. But after a little smoothing on your part to nudge them in the right direction, Adair makes an effort to view Shodi with an open mind. And Shodi begins teasing the veteran fighter in a more companionable and less amorous manner. After saving each other's hides a couple times and sharing more than a few laughs, the two form an easy, and you suspect, lifelong friendship. Seemingly lit with an inner glow, Shodi takes to a new life of mission work with gusto. She still is committed to shepherding souls forgone, but having realigned her goals with that of her fellow Dawn Stars, she now endeavors to help the living as much as the dead. As you travel the Deadfire, you find her sleeping better and laughing more often. When the time comes for her to return to her temple in Neketaka, it's with a clear wistfulness and much lip-biting on her part. She leaves you with her sickle and a hastily scrawled note. It reads, "A keepsake from a path once walked. Remember me, Watcher, for I will forever dream of you." Aloth renews his commitment to destroying the Leaden Key. With the wheel broken, loosening the god's stranglehold on Kith is more urgent than ever. It is a lofty goal, and one he does not expect to finish in his lifetime. But if there's one thing he's learned from the Watcher, it's that a single person can change the world. You let Romaro go, and the former pirate ostensibly set sail for the trade lanes of the Eastern Reach, the Edier Empire, Old Valia, and the Republics. For the remainder of your time together, Seraphon seems, if not exactly happy, at least contented with the outcome of your confrontation with his former mentor at Sayuka. And yet, when the two of you part, Seraphon seems emboldened, invigorated by a new sense of purpose. He buys you a drink, toasts to the Deadfire, says let's see if we can make something worth a shit out of what's left of these Principe swabs, and sets sail the next morning. In the years to follow, rumors occasionally reach you of the Blue Orlan pirate of the Deadfire, a privateer captain as keen to free slaves or fight foreign influence as he is to plunder and pillage. The Valian Trading Company is initially furious when they learn that Pallegina had assisted the Watcher in claiming Ukaizo. In the chaotic aftermath, the company takes a more nuanced view of Pallegina's actions. The turmoil in the region allows the well-organized company to seize a number of valuable assets from their competitors. Though Pallegina is not rewarded for her actions, nor is she punished, the Dukes and Songreta agree to forget her support of the Watcher. She is quietly reassigned to duty in the Valian Republics, an order she gladly obeys. Pallegina renews her relationship with Giacomo, corresponding with him regularly, and even meeting with the old Animenser once or twice a year. Though she does not understand the intricate details of his research, she reads his letters and responds with great enthusiasm. Her brothers, and even the Dukes themselves, note that Pallegina's demeanor is always warmer on the days when she receives a letter. Rumors even spread that some of the brothers have seen her smile. Time away from the Navy gives Maya Rua some perspective on how Rawatai conducted the Deadfire occupation. No sooner does she return to active duty than she voices her frustrations over some of the more underhanded tactics she witnessed and carried out in the name of the homeland. Her voice carries all the way to the Ranganui, who reminds his admirals that battles are won by superior tactics, but war is a battle of precedent, and winning is not always a victory. The people listen. Though Maya's covert assignment in the Deadfire is considered a success, few claim knowledge of it or openly congratulate her. She receives no praise beyond knowing glances or the occasional raised tankard from her countrymen. She never responds. Though she has a lot on her mind, she still makes time to visit, even if it's just to share a few pleasant words and a subtle wink. You don't often travel together, but it's clear that what you built in your time as shipmates is alive and well. She looks forward to seeing her brother again. So does Ashiza. Takehu distances himself from the problems of the Deadfire, giving the tribes a reprieve from godlike omens. Ngati's silence speaks volumes. The Huana grow to rely on each other, paving a new way forward divorced from their traditions. Soon after his departure from Nekataka, sailors report of mountainous water sculptures rising from the open sea, entrancing and salacious. These works are celebrated everywhere, from the brothel to the palace, though the identity of the artist remains an open question. Your farewell is short and cordial. Nothing further needs to be said, and you wish each other well. Takehu does not look back. The sea feels restless in his absence. Your pursuit of Aethys and your journey to Ukaizo signal the end of forces that have shaped the lives of Kith and the course of nations. The cycle of reincarnation has been broken. The storms of Andra's mortar have calmed. Yet each ending promises a new beginning. As the sun rises over Ukaizo, Kith turn their gaze eastward, wondering at what lies beyond, and at the world they will fashion for themselves. As the Watcher of Cadnua and the former Herald of Bareth, you return to your ship and begin the long journey home. You hope for calm weather,